Wow. It's been a long time since I've seen you guys. It's been far too long, and I've missed you. Now, I owe you a bit of an explanation, but before I owe you an explanation, I owe you an apology. I left you guys in the dark, no word, no signs of life, nothing for far too long, and I truly apologize. I should have come out with some kind of update much sooner, but as it turns out, that's just not the way things happened. And I hope that after you hear my explanation as to why I've been gone, it'll at least make a little bit more sense. Now, before we get into the explanation, I just want to say that there might be some people out there who don't care to hear an explanation. You just want to know whether or not I quit YouTube, whether the videos are going to continue. And right here at the top of the video, I'm going to say that I did not quit YouTube. I am going to resume making videos, and you can expect to see the videos starting to roll out in the very near future. So if that's what you were here for, I'll see you guys very soon. But if you do want to hear the story, if you do want to hear the explanation, sit back, grab a coffee, grab a beer, grab something, because I got some splaining to do. Now, before I give you guys an explanation as to where the heck I've been, why I sold the truck camper, I want to just quickly talk about how I got to where I'm at today, how I became a YouTuber, because there is some relevance and it's going to tie in to that explanation later in the video. I picked up a camera about 10 years ago. I got into photography first, still photos, just a hobby. And then I decided that, you know what, I like this a lot. I'm pretty good at it. I'm gonna try to make this my career. So I was pursuing photography, and along the lines, I picked up video because I thought it would be a useful skill to have to expand my potential clientele. And so I was pursuing photography and cinematography, commercial work, working with brands to create content for them to promote through advertisements. And so that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to become a photo and video professional. And I was also working in a restaurant, waiting tables, and that was what was really paying the bills. So I started a YouTube channel totally for fun. I just did it because I thought it would be a fun hobby, and I also thought that it would be a good way to hone my craft, hone my skills in videography and cinematography, all the while having some fun. And at the back of my head, I did have, the hope that maybe one day I could make a little bit of money doing this. At the time, I definitely watched some other YouTube channels, and I thought that would be really cool if I could make some money, some supplemental money doing YouTube on the side of my photo and video business. And at the back of my head, I had this pipe dream that, well, maybe one day YouTube could be my career. It could be my full-time job. And that was just a total dream, That was like, that's not gonna happen, but a guy can dream, right? And over the years, I continued to make videos on YouTube. And in the early days, I was making videos about minimalism, about road tripping, about all kinds of stuff, traveling, just a bunch of random stuff that I was into. And I continued to try to grow my photo video business. I continued to work random side jobs, and in the year 2020, the year of the coronavirus pandemic, I was completely at a standstill with my photo video business. There was no clients, there was no work to be done. So I was working in a grocery store, at a coffee bar, and I was still making YouTube videos purely for fun at this point. I was like, I got nothing better to do. This is like a fun creative outlet. And that year, I came into some financial hardship, like many of us did. And I was forced to move into my car. And my vehicle at the time was a 1991 Toyota 4Runner. And I moved out of the apartment I was living in into my car because I was broke. I couldn't afford rent anymore. I couldn't afford my bills. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna live in my car. I love road tripping anyways. I've always thought van life sounded cool. So let's just move into the car and see what happens. I posted a video. I made a video about the first day that I lived in the car. And it was called First Day Living in My Car, Spending the Night at Walmart. And I guess it was just the right place at the right time. But that video just took off. I mean, before that video, I probably had like 2,000-3,000 subscribers. And almost overnight, my subscribers shot up over 10,000. You know, the video went from 10,000 views, 50,000 views, 100,000 views. Everything just started snowballing. And that was the first moment where it hit me like, whoa, I could all of a sudden now make money doing this. This was just for fun before, but now this video is making me money. I'm living in my car. I could just keep making videos like this and make money. So it went from this thing I was doing on the side as a hobby for fun with the hopes of maybe making some money to now actually being a viable source of income. Over the years, I continued, you know, as I was living in my car, my expenses were low, so I wasn't making much money, but I was making enough to continue to adventure. And I just kept doing that. I just kept doing that for the next, let's see, I mean, that was in 2020, so we're in 2024 now. So for the next 4 years, I just kept making videos about my adventures, my road trips, that type of thing. And what I'm trying to highlight by telling you this story was this wasn't part of some kind of plan to create a career in YouTube. This was just something that kind of just fell into my lap, you know. I don't want to diminish it because I was working on building my skills as a filmmaker for a while. And so I think it was a combination of hard work over the years, but then also this random stroke of luck that I happened to be in the right place at the right time and create this video that essentially went viral and sparked my path of becoming a full-time YouTuber. So that's how I got here. That's how I became a YouTuber. Again, there was no master plan. This wasn't a career that I necessarily planned. It just kind of happened and I ran with it. Let's just put a pin in that. We'll circle back to it a little bit later. It'll make sense why I told you that story. For now, let's talk about why I sold my truck camper. Now, a couple months ago, sold the truck camper. A lot of you guys were angry about it. I could understand why there was some anger that I kind of just did it out of the blue. I didn't give anybody a heads up. I didn't give anybody an explanation at the time. I understand that. What I don't understand is, it's kind of interesting to me that there was people who were actually upset with my decision to sell the camper. I get being upset that I didn't, you know, make any mention or hint to why I sold it or anything like that. But it was funny that there's people who were upset over what some random guy on the internet decided to do with their camper, their money, right? But anyways, that's a different conversation. Sold the truck camper. Why did I do it? Well, as I mentioned in a past video, it was a very multifaceted decision. Let's just first talk about the most tangible, understandable reason, and that's finances. I thought that buying the camper was a good financial investment. I thought that I would buy the camper, and don't get me wrong, I wanted the camper. I wanted the camper. It wasn't solely an investment. But I looked at it as an investment because I thought I would buy the camper, and that would therefore help my business grow. It would help my channel grow. It would increase viewership. So I thought it was a business investment, and as it turns out, over the course of the next year and a half or whatever that I owned the camper, I realized that my viewership was not increasing. If anything, it was kind of going down a little bit. My channel wasn't really growing anymore. And I'm not gonna say it was because of the camper. It might have been, I don't know. But I do know that I looked at it and I realized that it was a bad financial investment. Like any business, you can look at your investments and they're either good investments that worked or they're bad investments. And this was a bad investment. It wasn't actually making me any more money. I still owed money on that camper. I took out a loan to pay for that setup, and I still owed money. So I was still making, you know, monthly payments. My income hadn't increased. Viewership hadn't increased. From a financial perspective, it didn't make sense to keep it. Now, that wasn't the only reason I sold the camper. That was a big part of it, but the other reason was a little bit more abstract. I had been traveling in a truck camper for years now, And my videos just started to feel super, super repetitive and redundant. It almost felt like I had a mold that I would just recreate over and over and over. You know, I would drive to a cool spot, I would maybe go hike a little bit, fish a little bit, and then I would go back to the camper, I would go inside, I would cook dinner, hang out, watch a movie, go to bed, wake up in the morning, make coffee, rinse and repeat, on and on and on. And it just felt like every single video I was making was with the exact same format. And I got sick of it. I felt like I wasn't being creative anymore. I felt like I wasn't being adventurous either. You know, that camper was so comfortable. It was so comfortable. I was just hanging out inside the camper all the time. It was too comfortable. A lot of people like that comfort, but for me, it started to really take away from the adventure. I felt like I'm not really putting myself out there. I'm not really adventuring anymore. And I'm not being creative. I'm just going and, you know, hanging out in this camper. So all of those reasons together, the finances, the repetitive videos, the excess comfort, all of these kind of came together, and I realized I need to get rid of this camper. It just doesn't make sense to have it anymore. So I sold it. That's what I did. And some people might think it was an abrupt decision, but it wasn't. It was something that I had been thinking about for like at least 3 months before I actually sold it. I just didn't really give any hints to the fact that I was gonna sell it because I wanted to have my next step already planned out so I could announce that step to you guys. But as it turns out, I didn't. And that is a good segue into where I've been. So after I sold the camper, I thought that things would just kind of fall into place. Now, I've never been a good planner, and I know a lot of people probably think that's irresponsible. A lot of people are probably like, well, that's no way to live. You need to have a plan. You need to plan things, plan better. And I agree, I see the value in planning. Don't get me wrong, I really do. But I also see the value in sometimes just going for things and trusting serendipity. I've had a lot of things happen in my life where I didn't have a plan. I just kind of went for what I felt was right. And it worked out in ways that, in better ways than I could have ever planned for. Like, for example, YouTube becoming my career. I didn't plan for that. Like I said, I didn't plan like I'm gonna do this to become a YouTuber. It kind of just, I took a chance, I did what felt right, and it was handed to me on a silver platter in a better way than I could have ever imagined. And that happened because I didn't have a plan. So I'm not saying that's the wisest way to live your life. I'm saying that for me, that's typically how I have lived. So after I sold the camper, I thought, oh, okay, cool. You know, things will work out. I have a few ideas of what I want to do. It'll work itself out. Well, I made the mistake of thinking that making an external change would also create internal change. If I wanted to start going on more serious adventures again, if I wanted to push my comfort, if I wanted to start making different videos, break out of the mold, I could have done all of those things with the camper. That would have been an internal change. I made an external change and thought that that was going to change me and change how I do things. External changes can sometimes help. For example, like a smoker. If you take your pack of cigarettes, throw it away, there's a chance that it's going to help you not smoke because there's a bigger barrier if you have to go to the store and buy more cigarettes before you can start smoking. Maybe there's a chance that that's gonna be a big enough barrier. But at the end of the day, if you haven't changed internally, you could still go to the store, buy a new pack of cigarettes, and continue to smoke. Just because you threw away your pack of cigarettes doesn't mean you're not gonna smoke anymore. And so that kind of was the mistake that I made. I thought that I'll sell the camper and I'm just gonna change, you know? I'm just gonna change, woo, magic wand. It's all different now. And it didn't. It didn't change my circumstances. It didn't provide any more clarity. It didn't help me to realize what path I want to go on to move forward. And when that didn't happen, I started to feel even more lost. I started to really just question what I'm doing. Am I happy doing this? Why am I still doing this thing that's not making me happy anymore? I thought that the unhappiness was because of the camper, but now I'm just questioning if I even want to be a YouTuber anymore, if I want to continue putting videos out. Do I want to go back to school? Do I want to continue to pursue commercial photography and filmmaking like I was at one point? Like, what do I want to do? What's going to make me happy? YouTube was the dream job. As I mentioned before, YouTube was this thing at the back of my mind that was always my dream job, the pipe dream. And if that is now a reality and that is not making me happy, what the heck is gonna make me happy, right? That's the golden question. Because I wasn't happy. I'm gonna be straight up. I wasn't happy. I realized I'm not happy right now. I have this dream job, and what's the point of it if I can't even be happy? Like, what am I? So anyways, that sent me into this existential mental health episode of not knowing what I wanted anymore and just feeling so lost. More lost than I've ever felt in my life. And I wanted to make some kind of update video. I wanted to put something out just to, you know, keep you guys in the loop. But when you're going through such a tough mental place like that, the last thing you want to do is film yourself and put yourself out there onto the internet for thousands of people to watch and scrutinize and judge you. It's hard to do that when you're in that vulnerable space. And I know it's part of the territory. You put yourself out on the internet, you make this your career, you're signing up for it. You're signing up to be judged and scrutinized by the world or by whoever is watching your videos. And I get that, but at the same time, like, that's just why I couldn't make any videos. I didn't feel good about making any videos. I didn't feel like they would be any good. I felt that they would be disingenuous. And so I just didn't make any videos. Now, where exactly does that leave us? I've been away for all this time. What conclusions have I come to? And it's a work in progress, you know. Life never has conclusions. Life is a compilation of decisions and paths converging and just doing the best that you can to do what feels right in the moment. And after spending all this time away from YouTube, I realized that I do want to continue making YouTube videos. And I realized that making YouTube videos wasn't the cause of my discontentment. It was really just my mindset and my approach. And I think that moving forward, I have hopefully figured out some ideas and things I can do differently to make YouTube my dream job again. This is still what I want to be doing. I just have to figure out how to do it in a way that's sustainable, fulfilling, and can pay the bills. And that's it. That's it. That's where I've been. I hope that provides a little bit of clarity. I know to some people you might be thinking, well, that's just a bunch of hoopla. None of that makes sense. You could have just gone out and started filming some videos hiking or whatever, and that's fine. Everybody has their opinion. If you haven't gone through this like kind of mental health situation before, it might not make sense, and that's okay. We're all living our own lives and doing the best we can. And I just wanted to try to explain it because I know that there's a lot of people who've been wondering what the heck is going on. The videos will be resuming very soon. Maybe not next week, but within this month, the videos are going to return. They might feel different. Like I said, I'm gonna be trying to change things up, and I'm excited to have this kind of new beginning and to see where it goes. So thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate all of you guys who watch my videos, every single one of you who comments, likes. It's truly appreciated. It doesn't go unnoticed. And I hope to see you very soon. Enjoy the rest of your day. Catch you in the next one. Peace.